Hello, thanks for joining us again on the channel. I've been wanting to talk about this for ages, and now that a friend finally got one, we can dive into his experience. Quick note before we begin, there's a discount link in the description and the top comment if you want to check it out. Now let's not waste any more time and jump right into the details.
Let's start with our first reviewer's experience.
This reviewer found this electric bike to be very well built, especially since it was purchased for their 16-year-old daughter. The initial experience was positive, with the bike arriving well packaged to prevent any damage during shipping and being straightforward to assemble. One of the first adjustments our reviewer made was to swap out the included seat for a more comfortable one from an older bicycle, a simple upgrade that made a big difference. However, a couple of issues did surface shortly after use. The fenders, while a nice inclusion, presented a durability problem. While the front fender seemed adequate, the rear one's mounting bracket proved to be extremely brittle in cold weather. It snapped within an hour of the first ride in chilly conditions. This wasn't an isolated incident, as the same problem occurred with a similar electric bike owned by their son, where even a slight brush of a leg while getting on was enough to break the fragile plastic mount. Our reviewer ended up having to fabricate a custom metal mount to create a more lasting solution for the rear fender. Another point of frustration was the lack of detailed instructions for the digital display on the handlebar. The owner's manual was sparse on information, offering no guidance on how to change basic settings, such as switching the speedometer from kilometers to miles per hour. To figure out these adjustments and other unmentioned settings, this client had to search for video tutorials online. Finally, a word of caution was offered regarding the bike's performance in winter conditions. Despite any claims of all-weather capability, our reviewer strongly advises against riding this fat-tire electric bike in deep snow or on icy roads, based on a first-hand experience where their son took a major spill. It might be suitable for groomed, snow-packed trails, but it is not a reliable option for typical winter commuting.
Fantastic. Now, let's see what insights our next reviewer has to offer.
This reviewer purchased this electric bike as their very first one, so they had nothing to compare it against, but the experience has been overwhelmingly positive. Both our reviewer and their husband absolutely love riding it. The initial assembly was handled by the client themselves and wasn't too bad, though it's worth noting that the included directions weren't very precise. The instructional video also featured a slightly different model, which made things a little confusing. After adding a few personal touches like a new seat, a rack, and a water bottle holder, the bike was ready to go. What truly impressed this client was the performance. They were pleasantly surprised to hit speeds of up to 30 mph, especially considering its power. This fat tire bike has proven to be incredibly robust, holding up well under a variety of conditions. The reviewer, who is 55, noted that it rode nicely even though they were a bit over the recommended weight limit. Their husband, who is 65 and close to 300 pounds, also had no issues. Amazingly, the electric bike still performed admirably and reached high speeds even with their 60-pound daughter riding on the back. It's handled rides through mud and water like a champ, making for some messy but very fun adventures. The pedal assist feature is a favorite for long rides, and even with its help, our reviewer found they were still getting a good workout. The battery seems to charge relatively quickly, usually within a few hours. The only real downside they encountered was the inability to purchase a spare battery directly from the company. Despite this, the overall verdict is that this is a great purchase, especially for a first-time electric bike buyer. They are so pleased with it that they are planning to buy a second one for the husband.
Excellent. Let's find out what our next reviewer has to share about their experience.
This reviewer initially found assembling this electric bike to be a straightforward process, thanks to prior experience with similar products. However, the excitement quickly turned to frustration when the control panel failed to power on right out of the box. After a couple of days, our reviewer was hoping for a quick response regarding a replacement, but the initial experience with customer support proved to be unhelpful and unresponsive, leading to significant disappointment. The problems continued to mount. First, the rear tire went flat. This client reached out to customer support, who suggested a replacement would be relatively inexpensive. Yet the actual cost, including both the new tire and labor, turned out to be significantly higher than anticipated. Not long after, the front tire also gave out, leading to another repair expense, once again considerably more than expected for the tire and the fitting service. To make matters worse, the bike's engine soon developed a fault. which our reviewer suspected might have been related to improper installation during one of the previous repairs. Although customer support offered a replacement for the engine, this client was by this point thoroughly fed up with the ongoing issues and escalating costs. The decision was made to pursue a full return for the electric bike to recoup the investment. This process, however, was far from smooth. Our reviewer faced significant delays in getting a solution, with a looming deadline for the return. Compounding the difficulty, the original packaging had been discarded, making the return even more challenging. Feeling as though good, hard-earned money had been completely wasted on a product that proved to be nothing but trouble, our reviewer expressed deep regret over the purchase. Despite the myriad of issues, a more recent update brought a glimmer of positive interaction. Customer support eventually reached out and assisted in recovering some of the money spent on replacing TH.
Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts. See you next time.